Now to a KXLY4 News exclusive. In Spokane, a dark shadow was cast over what's called the most wonderful time of the year this past December. A small community on the South Hill, rocked by a seemingly random homicide. Danette Kane, the owner of the Westview Manor Apartments, murdered feet from her doorstep. The building's manager, Michael Troy, shot in the head. Spokane police had no suspects, no surveillance footage, and just one eyewitness who'd only seen the killer for 30 seconds with nowhere else to go. They called in a sketch artist, Carrie Stewart Parks. Over the course of 30 years, Stewart Parks has sat down to draw dozens of suspects, hoping to help solve crimes and bring justice to victims. KXLY4's Caroline Flynn had the chance to meet the artist who takes a victim's description and turns it into a major clue to help solve a crime.
We don't often see suspect sketches anymore. When I spoke to law enforcement in Spokane and North Idaho, they couldn't remember the last time they'd used a sketch artist to help solve a crime. I tracked down the woman who made the sketch and learned while she might not be called in for every case, for those that she has, her work has made quite an impact. Most artists have the luxury of being right in front of what they're drawing. For a forensic artist, it's a little more complex. They have to draw someone they've never seen, someone they've never met. They have to draw your memory.
I have to retrieve it from your mind and put it down on paper without adding anything at all of what I think.
To someone with no artistic background like myself, it sounds impossible. But Carrie Stewart Parks swears it's easy.
If you can say, yes, I would know the man again if I saw him, or the woman again if I saw him, that is enough memory in there for me to get out to work with.
We wanted to know how that's possible, so Carrie invited us to her North Idaho studio to see how it works. I played the victim and used KXLY photographer Ernie as my bad guy. Like a victim, I didn't look at photos of him to describe him to Carrie, but she had dozens of mugshots of her own to help jog my memory. His eyes are brown. His hair, he's got a good head of hair.
Anything that can be described can be put down on paper.
We'll come back to this fake scenario shortly. In a real case, much more is at stake as detectives race against the clock. In this Spokane murder last December, Carrie only had a few minutes to speak with the victim's son about what he saw.
He said, African-American female, he gave me an age range. He gave me the things that he remembered the best. He told me he saw her for maybe 27, 28 seconds. All we have to do is get something out there where somebody would look at it and go, that kind of reminds me of.
It did more than that. A police officer and the suspected killer's boss recognized the woman in the drawing. 48 hours after the sketch was released, police arrested 23-year-old Ann Carpenter.
That's what the reward is for what you're doing.
She's had plenty of rewards. In more than 30 years as a sketch artist, she's logged a binder full of news clippings. Some small cases, many big ones that she'll never forget, like Shadle Park rapist George Grammer and Spokane serial killer Robert Yates.
This is one of the better known ones, the Tom DiBartolo, who murdered his wife and claimed that a couple of young men did it. This is all at the Phineas priesthood.
Wow.
And these are just all the different drawings I did.
Carrie's work goes far beyond the inland Northwest. She and her husband travel the country and abroad as leading instructors in the forensic art world.
This was a pre-instructional drawing. He was not being funny. That was his drawing. And then that's one of his composites.
She's proud of her students' work, and a second binder tracks their accomplishments.
One of my students that couldn't draw, one of his first sketches identified the largest serial arsonist in U.S. history, Paul Kenneth Keller.
She often only has 2 days to teach officers to draw and draw well enough to make a recognizable face from a witness description. For someone who didn't set out to be a teacher, that would be the ultimate accomplishment. For Carrie, though, nothing compares to completing a sketch, and learning her interpretation of your memory is spot on. It looks just like Ernie.
Oh, so in what we say in our professional capacity is, yes!
No, I mean, I'm just looking like... Good. Recently, Carrie has taken some cases she's worked on as a sketch artist and used them as inspiration for a new passion, writing. Carrie is the author of 4 suspense novels. She's currently working on a 5th. In studio tonight, Caroline Flynn, KXLY4 News.